Tritylodontids were small to medium-sized, highly specialized and extremely mammal-like cynodonts. They were the last known family of the non-mammalian synapsids. One of the last cynodont lines to appear, the Tritylodontidae, descended from a Cynognathus-like cynodont. The Tritylodontids were herbivorous, chewing through vegetation, such as stems, leaves, and roots. The Tritylodont's skull had a high flat crest. They retain the reptilian joint between the quadrate bone of the skull and the auricular bone of the lower jaw, but they were reduced. It is only through the retention of the vestigial reptilian jawbones that they are technically regarded to not be mammals. The back of the skull had huge zygomatic arches for the attachment of its large jaw muscles. They also had a very well-developed secondary palate. The tritylodont dentition was very different from that of other cynodonts. They did not have canines. The front pair of incisors were enlarged, that were very similar to rodents of today. Traversodonts had a large gap, the diastema, that separated the incisors from the square-shaped cheek. Each of the cheek teeth in the upper jaw had 3 rows of cusps running along its length that had grooves in between. The lower teeth had 2 rows of cusps which fitted into the grooves in the upper teeth. The matching of the cusps allowed the teeth to meet in a precise bite. It would grind its food between the teeth in somewhat the same way that a modern rodent would with their food. The teeth were well suited for shredding plants' matter. Like Mammaliformes, Tritylodontids have epipubic bones, a possible synapomorphy between both clades, and as such were forced to produce undeveloped fetus-like young like modern Mammaliformes and marsupials. The Tritylodonts can very much be seen as Mesozoic rodents. Tritylodonts were active animals that were probably warm-blooded and burrowed like modern-day rodents. For example, Oligocyphus could be compared to a weasel or mink, with a long, slim body and tail. Tritylodonts were first discovered in the Upper Triassic rocks of South Africa in the late 1800s, and were initially thought to be amongst the very earliest mammals. The first genus was named in 1854, Stereognathus, and the family name erected by Cope in 1884. Tritylodontids appeared in the late Triassic period, and persisted through the Jurassic until the early Cretaceous. Euantherium was one of the last known species of Tritylodont. Since then a genus from Cretaceous called Cynognathus has been found, which appears to be a member of the clade as well. Samorthos operates as a Tritylodontid member that persisted into the Paleocene after the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, but this is not widely accepted. If true, then Tritylodontids were elusive and rare during the late Cretaceous, because no Tritylodonts were found by that time. However, the Crinoporates' anatomy closely resembles to that of Symmetrodonts, a mammalian lineage. Tritylodontids were likely to have been warm-blooded. Tritylodontid fossils are found in the Americas, South Africa, and Eurasia. They appear to have had an almost global distribution, including Antarctica. Because of their extremely mammal-like appearance, Tritylodontids were originally placed within Mammalia. Starting with the work of British paleontologist D.M.S. Watson in 1942, a close relationship was favoured between Tritylodontids and cynodonts. Watson and other paleontologists noted that Tritylodontids lacked the dentary and squamosal jaw articulation that was characteristic of early mammals. Horton and Brink were the first to classify Tritylodontids within Cynodontia. Later studies identified close similarities between the teeth of Tritylodontids and Traversodontids, and Tritylodontids were eventually thought to be descendants of Traversodontids. Under this classification, which was widely accepted in the following decades, Tritylodontidae was previously considered to be part of Gomphodontia, a larger group within Cynognathia. The name Tritylodontidae was previously used for the group, which traditionally included the families Diademodontidae, Triratchodontidae, Traversodontidae, and Tritylodontidae.